build that bridge or create that process or the best practices to get you from where you believe you want to be and the life you want to live to where you're not necessarily stuck at, but where you're at right now.
And now, great minds and one bald guy.
Well, thanks everybody for jumping on to the next episode of Great Minds and One Bald Guy. It is my pleasure to introduce you to my new friend, Sam Richter. Sam Richter is a distinguished Hall of Fame speaker, renowned for his expertise in digital information. Sam's the only speaker who not only helps you discover the power of online intelligence, he also builds the AI and ChatGPT intel resources to ensure you experience immediate success. Throughout his career, he has crafted innovative programs and technology for both startup companies and some of the world's most recognized brands. One of the things I should tell you is that one of Sam's best friends is also one of my best friends, Ross Bernstein. And along with Ross, Sam's accolades as a speaker has been he's a Professional Speaker Hall of Fame member. He is a top 50 sales keynote speaker. He's one of the top 25 most influential sales leaders. Top 100 motivational speakers. He's in the Minnesota Speaker Hall of Fame. He's written the best-selling book, awarded Sales Book of the Year. He is renowned in his ability to talk about taking the cold out of cold calling, and that's kind of the impetus of where we want to go today. Sam and I took a couple of minutes and thought about what we could deliver to agents and agency leaders in our field right now, and how we can bring the talent of Sam Richter maybe to the field. So Sam, I probably did a very poor talking about some of your things, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and some things we should also know.
I love building AI tools. I mean, some people like to play golf, some people like to play tennis. I like to create resources and tools. I'm always tinkering. And am a Minnesota sports fan, and maybe someday in my life, I was at 2 Game 7s of the World Series in person, which was pretty amazing. That was a long time ago. We need to win something else, Todd, before I go.
Yeah, it can't be just the frost carrying our sports.
Exactly.
Anyhow, well, yeah, and I definitely we've actually last time we talked to was at one of the Saints games. So yeah, I can guarantee you Sam is an avid sports fan. Sam, I want to start out with one of the questions that's always I get a lot when I'm talking and whatever is Sam, most agents, advisors and salespeople are literally terrified of AI and what it may do to their part in distribution. What would you say to them in regards to the role of AI and how you think it may affect them?
Well, especially for folks in the insurance industry, in the financial advisory industry, the banking industry. I mean, anybody that's dealing with people. If you think your job as a salesperson, if you think your job as an agent is about entering systems into CRM, entering data into CRM systems, entering, doing risk analysis, taking incoming calls, yeah, you should be afraid of AI, because guess what? In the next few years, AI is going to take all of that. It's going to be able to do all of that. However,
on that line, how can it make it better?
Well, that's the thing is so what we should realize is let's embrace AI, not as a new technology, not as the new iPhone or something like that, but something that if you don't do it, it's critical to your survival. Embrace it, leverage it, learn how to use it to create massive efficiency. So, at a high level, anything you do that's ever repetitive, use AI to automate it. And, it's much, you don't need to know software code or anything. You can figure out how to do that. And then use it to unleash creativity. Ultimately, if I could wave a magic wand, Todd, and give you 5 extra hours a week or 10 extra hours a week, how could you focus on providing your clients more value and your employees more value, your family more value, your community more value? Because that's the promise of AI. Embrace it to allow you to focus on what only humans can do. So AI does not have compassion. It doesn't have vulnerability. It doesn't have courage. It doesn't ask the questions that really ought to be asked but aren't being asked. It doesn't have wisdom based on your years of experience. It can't connect with other people at a human level, at the soul level. It doesn't have wisdom. It can't build trust. And if you think of the insurance world, that's what it's all about. It's not about pushing numbers and recommending policies, because guess what? I'll be able to go into AI and buy my own darn policy. And maybe as a young person, that's the wise decision. But as we get older and our lives get more complex, I need a family CFO. I need a team of experts to tell me what's right for me. Tell me what I can't find in Google or ChatGPT. And so that's where I think, instead of being afraid, be incredibly optimistic, because by learning how to use these tools, it's going to allow you to do why you got into this business, and that's helping people.
And the idea of freeing up 5 to 10 hours a week to be able to prospect better, or to,
For sure,
you know,
whatever
be
it
able to
is.
grow another part of your market, or maybe even just educate yourself on trends and new products and things like that.
Sure.
You know, one thing I wanted to mention over to the viewers is that we're going to drop in the show notes links to Sam's site and to access to his technology. And if you want to find out more about Sam, definitely I would highly advise it. But Sam and I have played around and talked about some things, and he came out and completely floored a group of us that were at a professional lacrosse league event that we had him come speak at it. And within a very short period of time, he made an amazing program. But one thing he talked about was the amount of technology that would allow you to do the pre-underwriting of a client that you may want to call. The old idea of calling cold calling. But with the kind of robust, if you had this type of information before you started a phone call, it's no more cold calling.
No.
As far as I'm concerned, it's not fair anymore.
No.
If I could do this, I would have, most people leave because of call reluctance. I think if people really get into this, they'll have to stop because they're on a daytime. So if they like their success. So
Yeah.
without further ado, then maybe we can bridge into the best name I can give it is kind of a cold calling tool, but you probably have a better word for it, or an engine of some sort.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm a big believer that, like you said, cold calling's dead. I'm a big believer in warm calling. What is warm calling? It's when you understand something about the other person, you can be relevant to what they care about. No offense, Todd, nobody cares about insurance. They don't. I mean, but they massively care about themselves. And so they care about what insurance can do for them, but they don't care about insurance. And yet, too many times as salespeople, what happens is, first off, we're thrilled to get somebody on the phone or on Zoom or in a meeting. And what do? We end up talking about ourselves, our firm, how we do things differently. We've been in business for 40 years, a family run. Nobody cares. Okay, but they care about themselves. So how do we make sure we talk about the other person? And then, take that to another level. Everybody buys differently. So my wife and I are the perfect example. If you were going to sell to me, Todd, I just want to know, give me the bullets. What's the product? What's it going to do? How much it's going to cost? What can I expect at the end? What's the result? If you were going to sell something to my wife and you led with bullet points, she's going to completely tune you out, because my wife cares about, how's it going to impact people? How's it going to impact employees? What's this going to do to my family? What's this going to do to my children? She doesn't really even get to the cost part until you figured out all that. Now, if you were to talk to me that way, here's how it's going to make the world a more beautiful place. I'm already tuning out. And if you were to talk to my wife with bullet points, she's already tuning out. So I built a tool. So let me back up. So generative AI is basically, it's a probability and prediction model. It's a very complex probability and prediction model based on neuroscience, how human beings think. So if you go into that understanding that that's how it works, well, there are tens of thousands of data points out there on all of us. So if I can gather that information and then build an algorithm to determine your personality and how to best sell to you, that's one of the tools I've built. So if you want, I can quickly show my screen, and now I've already run it on you because I wanted to make sure that nothing embarrassing in there. And
We'll see. There might be something embarrassing.
well, Ross has told me some stories, but
yes, everybody from Fairmont
yeah,
has a black folder we don't talk about unless we're
that's
with
right.
each
But
other.
that was a long time ago. So basically, let me share this with you. This is I'm opening up what's called the Insurance Agent Intel Engine, which is an AI-powered tool I've developed for prospecting. One of the tools in here under meeting prep is personal intel. So I typed in your name. It went out, did about 30 seconds of research on you, asked me which one is you. I just typed in one. And now I'll open this up so it's a little bit easier to read. But you go in here and you get to tell me how accurate it is. So here's your background, psychological profile, so a one sentence overview of you, your personal values. So I bet you those are pretty darn accurate.
Absolutely.
Personal mission statement and underlying motivations, your decision-making style. If you were to take a Clifton Strengths profile, it would probably come out something like that.
So I've taken a number of profiles, but I've not done Clifton's, but it just took it for me.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Here's your DISC
I've done
profile.
DISC. Yep, that's money. That is exactly what my DISC profile is.
Myers-Briggs and Enneagram, emotional intelligence, your Colby Index, and then most important, if I'm selling to you, this is what I ought to lead with. Lead with outcomes. Action language that would resonate, emotional language that would resonate. And here's what's really crazy. Now I can go here and tell it about me. I'm just going to make up something. I sell home water heaters. Todd reached out as his, because I don't want to sell you insurance. That would kind of.
Okay, I understand.
So Todd reached out as his water heater is broken. I am meeting with him this afternoon. How should I structure the meeting? And now, based on your personality, this will now tell me, again, if I was selling water heaters, how I should approach you. So it's going to be we do same day price. Yes, same day. Okay. So it also acts as a business coach.
Okay.
So I'll ask you questions, but if I were to sell you a water heater, this is how I should do it. So based on your personality.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It is nuts. It is nuts.
Now, something I talk about in generative AI is you use it to get you 85% of the way there, right? I mean, you're going to go through here, you're going to change things. You've got enough experience that you'd go through and change. But the point
can you click back for just a second?
Yeah,
I just saw something here that you listed two of my pet peeves.
Okay.
Well, trust me, using the word trust me, and to be honest things.
What to avoid?
Trust me language, vague pricing.
Isn't that crazy?
And the trust me thing is just I literally do. Anytime a guy says, well, to be honest, then I think, have you been not honest up until now?
Exactly. So, but the point being, now what you just saw is an example of leveraging AI as a business partner. Mm-hmm. So in my training, let me back up a little bit. I give it's called Mindset Shift. Shift is an acronym. S stands for streamlining workflow, which is how most people use generative AI today. Help me write an email. H is harnessing your expertise. Basically, I'm going to upload some data, help me analyze it. I is innovation. And then what you just experienced was F, focus strategically. So what does that mean? What if I could make business decisions? What if I could make sales calls better than I could before because I have access to data that previously never existed? So, Todd, you've been in this business a long time. Now, are you going to run a personality analysis on every prospect? Of course not. But let's say you're going to go out and you're going to sell a comprehensive benefits program to a CEO of a mid-size manufacturing company. This could be a big deal for you. Go run it. Based on your experience, if you had information on that individual like I now have on you, could you do a better job?
Absolutely.
That's what we're trying to get here. You know, we're trying to differentiate ourselves from the other person, because the beautiful thing about salespeople is they have lowered the bar so much. Like if you just answer your darn phone now, you're better than 80% of the people out there. Imagine actually going into a meeting and understanding the other person, understanding their company, understanding their needs, and then being able to focus on what they care about rather than what you care about.
And I look at a lot of the agents and agencies that we affect or effect,
Yeah.
and they're rural.
Yeah.
And think about that. You think you know your neighbor potentially, or you may think John that owns the plumbing firm and he's just turning 65 and he's calling me, and I take a minute to call him back and do a little search, and you found out that he's an advocate of this and he's part of this, and he's a coaching thing, and you're like, I didn't know. Our kids I think went to school together. Did you? You know,
Yes,
I mean,
exactly.
it opens those conversations that you know. You talked about how you talk to people, and a dear friend of mine, my ex-business partner or retired business partner, Dave Tessing, says it almost all the time: is people don't care how much you know, they want to know how much you care.
Thank you.
And if you
Absolutely.
care enough to be able to treat with them and meet them at the levels they want to be treated as, like you want bullet points, your wife wants to go deeper and have that heartfelt conversation, and
Yeah.
you take that much time to actually, it's a tactic. I mean, everybody knows we're not going to be dishonest here, but if you're going to go that far to make sure that when you do talk about solutions, you're going to put it in vernacular that your client's going to be more accustomed to
That's
accept.
right.
And if
That's
they
right.
don't agree with you, at least the effort's there. And you give yourself permission to say, can I go back and maybe look at something different, because I have misjudged this situation. It's not rocket science, but when you use the words the promise of AI, holy cow,
Yeah,
this
and
to
you know,
me is
Todd,
crazy.
it's all about sales. I mean, we try to make things so darn complicated. Um, Sales is pretty simple. It's understanding yourself, understanding, do you have solutions, understanding the other person, where's the fit? Have you done it for other people just like me? So the Summit Group, it's a group I do work with, they call it them us fit proof. And the them part is so important, because here's the real world scenario that everybody listening today or everybody watching um, faces. When you walk into my office and you're going to sell me insurance, even though I need it, health insurance, insurance for my company, whatever it is, Medicare, you know, whatever it is, uh, automatically there's a brick wall between us, Todd. Like, in the minute you just start going down the path talking about yourself or using terms that I don't understand, you're adding bricks to the wall. Versus if you go in and the first words out of your mouth are about something you know the other person cares about, especially formed as a question, you know. So, for example, Todd, let's say I didn't know you at all, but I'd done a little homework. And I walked into the meeting and I said, "Hey, Todd, you know, before I meet with people, I do a little bit of homework and hey, guess what I found?" Now, by the way, let me pause. What just happened? All the small talk that was going on in your head just went away, right? Like I
Right.
have your full attention at this point. Oh my
It's
God,
like,
what'd
oh
you find?
shit, what'd you find out?
Yeah, what'd you find? Oh my God, what'd you find? I was doing a little research, and it could be as simple as just going to your LinkedIn profile. You know,
Mhm.
hey, I see that you went to Fairmont High School, and I know it's a decent sized town, but my best friend went there. You know, is there, going out on a limb, is there any shot that you know Ross Bernstein? And what are you going to say? Well, Ross is one of
Absolutely.
my best friends.
Oh
And what just happened to that brick wall? I
yeah.
just threw a grenade at it. Like it's over. The wall's gone. Now we're talking amongst friends. And that's what we want. We're not trying to be manipulative. We're just trying to genuinely show the other person that we care. And I want to blow up that brick wall because I want to gain permission to ask you more complex questions, right? If the typical insurance agent, they sit down, here's a 50-page form I need to fill out on my risk profile. And the first thing, even though we've never met before, you're asking for my social security number. It's like, dude, I don't even know you.
Right.
So you got to break that wall down before you go into those more complex questions. As I like to say, the second most powerful word in sales is the word permission. The first most powerful word is 2 words. It's I'll buy. But you got to gain permission to ask those questions.
Yeah, I like the idea that you throwing a grenade at that wall. I have a question. Can we go back to the tool?
Sure.
And I want to have you ask the tool what is the best way to ask for referrals from Todd or from me.
Right.
I don't get to ask.
I have the answer to that because
Yes.
I would not use the tool, but let's use the tool first and see what would be the Todd for referrals. Now I have a pretty good hunch. I know what this is going to say, in the sense of, how to ask for referrals, right? So those are some pretty good advice on what to do.
Yep.
But now I got to tell you something. Oh, did I interrupt you? I'm sorry, Todd.
No, go ahead. I was just reading through. So a lot of the things I would have agreed to.
So I don't like referrals. So if I was asking you for referrals, Todd, let's say I keynoted your conference, you loved me, it was great. And I said, hi, Todd, do you know anybody else who could possibly be interested in my speaking? And you might say, not off the top of my head, but let me get back to you, right? Well, in the history of the world, no one's ever gotten back to you with that question. So I don't believe in referrals. I believe in introductions. What's the difference? So, hey, Todd, I'm so thrilled you love my keynote presentation. Say, I was doing a little research and I saw that you know Ross Bernstein. Let's pretend Ross still owned the furniture store, right? Do you think Ross's furniture store would be a good fit for what I do? And you might say, gosh, I've never really thought of that. Hey, if I sent you over a couple sentences, would you mind doing a virtual introduction? So we did a survey many years ago of 50,000 buyers of financial services products. And we asked, if you asked for an introduction by name, so instead of saying, do you know somebody who knows somebody, you say, do you know Joe Smith? Do you know Sally Jones? Do you know Ross Bernstein? 97% of clients would make the introduction. And by the way, they're emotionally invested in making sure the introduction occurs. And then we surveyed 5,000 advisors and agents, and we asked how many of you have ever asked for an introduction by name. You know what the answer was? 2%. So I'm like, you can do all the marketing you want and spend a boatload of money on marketing, or just do that. Find out who your existing clients know. Well, how do you do that, Sam? Oh, you go into LinkedIn, you find out who they're connected with, who they're commenting with, find out what boards of directors they're on, find out what golf club they golf at. What sorority?
I'm sure there's an AI tool that could pull all those things
exactly.
up, believe it or not.
But that's, to me, I mean, when I hear that 97% would make the introduction, and oh, by the way, so I'll get, Todd, when we were first introduced by Ross is the one who introduced us. I don't think either of us did a great job of responding right away. And I know that Ross came back to you and said, did you ever connect with Sam? Because Ross was personally invested in making sure that we connected. That's what happens when you ask for introductions versus referrals. Referrals, I'm just going to give you a name because I want to do it. I want to get it off my plate. Introductions, different.
Yeah, and Ross is one of the greatest connectors you'll ever find.
Goodness,
so Yeah, but I mean, but everybody wants to be that. He feels good when he knows you and I talk.
Well, it's
People feel
genuine,
good. Yeah,
you
very
know, and
genuine.
that's the thing. I mean, again, I come back to we make things complicated. Oh, I'm going to go run a huge television ad campaign, or I'm going to buy Google ads. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but how about asking your existing clients for introductions? Because
Introduction.
97% will give them. Not
Absolutely.
if they're asking.
Yeah, and we do the prompting for those introductions is another skill set, and we actually
Yes.
train on that later. But
Oh, that's awesome.
the
Yeah,
simple things: who do you golf with? Who do you play cards with? Who do you?
exactly.
And that they don't think of the name when do you know somebody? They're like, oh, geez, they freeze up, and then you start to isolate it, and it kind of helps. And then this would be so
Exactly.
much better.
Yeah.
So other referrals and the tool that you kind of showed us, and I think you'll talk about later is how maybe we might be able to access that tool. If I'm an agent today and I wanna embrace AI
Hmm.
and I want to see what its options are to improve my life and maybe get me get the promise of AI a chance, give it a chance.
Yeah.
What other things can you think of, or what else would you throw out there for some baby steps?
Well, you gave me the softball question, which,
Yeah.
but it's too early. And so I'm in the middle of developing an AI certification program. So ask me that in a month
Okay.
and I'll give you the web address for that. Okay. In all
Awesome.
seriousness, the good news is ask AI. So go get a ChatGPT account, or I like Claude. There's a number of them out there. There's Claude that's really good, Claude.ai, ChatGPT, Gemini. Those are probably the three best. And pay the $20. I mean, oh my God, it's $20. Come on, like seriously, pay the $20. And so you have unlimited usage and ask it. And just say, hey, you got to give a good prompt. So I have a framework for a prompt. It's called the guide framework. It's what is your goal? Who are you? Who's your intended audience? How do you want your information delivered? What's the environment it should be received? So at a high level, I might go into, say, ChatGPT and say, you are the world's expert at teaching people how to use ChatGPT. I am an insurance agent interested in learning how I can leverage AI to create efficiency in my business. Please have a conversation with me like I am a college freshman, so I understand it. Give me, so this is the D part, how I want it delivered. Give me information in bullet point format, one step at a time. Do not move forward with the next step until I tell you I'm ready. And then just start asking the questions. Um, so that's how to use ChatGPT, to learn how to use ChatGPT. Now, the other good way to do it, go into YouTube, type in how to use ChatGPT. There are thousands of great videos. Find one that has 1 million views, 500,000 views, because that means other people like it. So there's really no excuse. There are so many places where you can learn how to use this.
Well, fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, I can't thank you enough, Sam, for taking some time
Yeah, for
and
sure.
pulling back the curtain on really, to be honest, how simple an idea of using. I'm going to keep saying it again, the promise of AI, how it can
Yeah,
help just the maybe one of the most cumbersome pieces of a new agent and even an existing agent,
yeah.
and that is prospecting and finding the right thing to say in that first
Yeah,
blush.
let me give you one real tactical example, okay? Um, you go in today, you have a meeting, you take notes, you transcribe the notes, you got to write an email, you got to go into you're going to fill out a proposal. What if you could use AI where you could turn on your mobile device, or you can now get little pins that sit on your shirt that records the meeting, it transcribes the meeting, it immediately, now again, I'm not talking, I know there's compliance issues and all those things, but it transcribes the meeting, it creates the email, and it even, because you use the same uh, uh, paperwork for onboarding a new customer, it even automatically fills in all that. That's all doable today with AI. And remember, we are at the AOL dial-up stage of AI. This is like we're at the genesis of this, and it's only going to get better. But what I just described is what you can do today. Now, let's say that saves you 20 minutes. I'm just picking a number. And you do that 100 times a year, which is probably a pretty low number. So that's 2,000 minutes that you just got. That if it's saved, and this isn't exactly true what I'm about to say, but you'll get my point in saying it. By creating that level of efficiency in my business, let's say that was me who did that. I now have 53 weeks in my year, and you've got 52, because I just freed up 2,000 extra minutes a year. So that's the way you need to think about this.
Yeah, I think just meeting summaries alone. Take all the you said, he said, you said stuff, and I send it off to everybody now.
Exactly.
Just meeting recaps. I'm sending it so that if you said something you didn't agree with, please answer it now, because I'm going to act on this information. And down the road, if you say you didn't say it, I'm saying shame on you if you did.
Yeah, exactly. And so, again, just to kind of wrap up, this is not the new iPhone. It's like, oh, if I try it, I don't need it. No, you need this. You need to get on board, or you're going to get left behind. But don't be scared of it either. It's easy to use. There are lots of places where you can learn how to use it. There's lots of tools that make using it way easier. And when you embrace it, getting back to what we talked about earlier, it allows you to do what only humans can do, and that's be human.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. Sam, we have a number of workshops coming up here this spring. Sam will be featured at those workshops. We'll be showing you how to have access to the cool prospecting tool that he talked about. And if you want information, there's a link to Sam's information on this broadcast in the media in the show notes. And look for our broadcast, and that'll be canned also. We'll have his presentation canned too. So again, I appreciate your time, Sam. Stay happy, stay healthy, and everybody have a great day. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks.